Hello, students. I hope you all are well and safe at home. I, Madhup Kumar, is here with lesson number 10, Respiration in Organism, part 2. Priya Singh ma'am explained you part 1 of this chapter. Now I will explain you the further topics. In this part, I will explain you the human respiratory system, second, mechanism of breathing, third, respiration in plants. Now, here for respiration in human beings, we have to study about the human respiratory system. In this figure, you are seeing that the atmospheric air enters in human body through the nose or mouth. Here the nasal pass, after that is the oral cavity. This goes down, that is the pharynx. Pharynx also goes down, that is the larynx. Larynx enters into the one pipe, that is called trachea. This is also called the windpipe. This trachea further divide into two parts, that is called bronchus, and each bronchus enters into the lungs. Here, when the bronchus enters into the lungs, it also divides into many parts, that is called bronchioles. Here, the bronchioles also divide into many small parts, that is called alveoli. Now these are the organs of the human respiratory system. Now you know that both lungs are surrounded by the bones, that is called ribs. Now here I am going to explain you how do we breathe. A student, you know that breathing contains two parts, two phenomena or two functions, inhalation and exhalation. A student, in inhalation, oxygen rich air enters into the lungs, and exhalation, the carbon dioxide rich air go out from the body. Here you know that the inhalation and exhalation takes place by the diaphragm, with the help of diaphragm. When the diaphragm go down, there will be inhalation, and when the diaphragm move upward, that is the exhalation. Here I am going to explain you the mechanism of breathing. Here, student, you are seeing that is the lungs, one pair of lungs, and one pair of lungs that is surrounded by the ribs. Here, below the both lungs, there is a diaphragm. In first figure, you are seeing that diaphragm is going down. When the diaphragm is going down, the volume of lungs increases. When the volume of lungs increases, the atmospheric air or the air rich in oxygen enters into the lungs through the nose. And when the diaphragm go upward, in this way, the volume of lungs decreases. When the volume of lungs decreases, then the air, carbon dioxide rich air which is present inside the lungs, that is go outside the body. When there is a inhalation, in that condition the volume of lungs increases and ribs also expand. And during the exhalation, the volume of lungs decreases and ribs also contracts. Now, next. Now, I am going to show the inhalation and exhalation through the model. Here, then you are seeing that gas jar. This is the student. Here, there is a glass jar. And in this glass jar, there is a one pipe. This one pipe divided into two parts. These two parts show the bronchus. And here the two balloons show the lungs. This is the jar that is so the thoracic cavity. You know that inside the thoracic cavity our heart and lungs present, and below the jar there is a diaphragm. This figure you can show that when we push the diaphragm downside, the volume of the jar, that is the increases. When the volume of jar increases, so that the air from the outside enters into the jar, and when the air enters into the jar, the lungs expand. You can show that. And when we remove the diaphragm, the volume of jar, that is the decreases, and so that the air that is present inside the lungs, that is the go outside the body. A student, here I am going to explain you mechanism how the oxygen enters, and after enters what happen inside the body, and after that how can the polluted gas or the carbon dioxide rich gas go outside the body. A student, please listen very carefully. When the diaphragm goes down, the volume of lungs increases, and in this time the ribs also expand. So the oxygen rich air enters into the body through the nose or mouth. After that, this air passes to the pharynx, through the pharynx, larynx. After larynx, air goes to the trachea or windpipe. After trachea and windpipe, this trachea divided into two parts, that is called bronchus, and here the air enters into the lungs. This bronchus also divide into many parts, that is called bronchioles. These bronchioles also divide into many parts, that is called alveoli. A student, up to alveoli, the oxygen remains in the air in the gaseous state. A student, up to alveoli, I said oxygen remains in gaseous state. But student, you know that inside the wall of alveoli there is a blood layer. As the oxygen enters into when the gas enters into the alveoli, the oxygen present in the gas combine with hemoglobin and forms a temporary compound, that is called oxyhemoglobin. This oxyhemoglobin now start to run in the blood. Here along with the blood, this oxyhemoglobin reaches to the organ system. A student, you know that we have many organ systems. In each organ system, the oxyhemoglobin reaches. From the organ system, this oxyhemoglobin goes to the organs. From the organs, this blood goes to the tissue, and from the tissues, this blood goes to reach up to the cell. As the oxyhemoglobin reach to the cell, this temporary compound, that is divided into oxygen, free oxygen and hemoglobin. This free oxygen goes into the cell. A student, you studied in digestion कि after the digestion the carbohydrate breaks into the glucose, and this glucose that is stored in each cell of the body with the help of the blood, that is called assimilation. Here this oxygen combine with glucose or react with glucose. We can also say that oxidize the glucose and form carbon dioxide, water and energy. This process happens in each cell of our body. This energy, that is the store in muscles as ATP, adenosine triphosphate, and water, that is go outside the body in many ways, urine ways, sweat ways, and this carbon dioxide that is not good for our body, not good for our body. So this carbon dioxide, at the same time this carbon dioxide combine with hemoglobin that is present outside the cell and forms a unstable compound that is called carboxyhemoglobin. This carboxyhemoglobin again comes from cell to tissue, from tissue to organs, from organs to organ system, and from organ system comes to alveoli. As the carboxyhemoglobin at this time it is in the form of unstable compound in the blood. As the carbon dioxide reaches to alveoli, it breaks and divided into carbon dioxide and oxygen and hemoglobin. Now in alveoli, this carbon dioxide come in gaseous state, and from the alveoli that is come into the bronchioles, from the bronchioles come to the bronchus, and from bronchus that is come into the trachea or windpipe, trachea come to the larynx, larynx to pharynx, and pharynx to nose or mouth, and this carbon dioxide rich air come out from the body, that is called exhalation. Between inhalation and exhalation there is an intercellular respiration, that is, you know that in intercellular respiration the oxygen forms in unstable compound and carbon dioxide also form a unstable compound. This is the mechanism, or in this way we take the oxygen from the atmosphere and we release the carbon dioxide to the atmosphere. Now student, I am going to explain respiration in plants. Student, you know that we need much energy, but because we have to do various type of work, we have to move here and there. But a student, plant, they need the energy but in less quantity. In the plant, respiration takes place as in human beings as in animals. You know that oxygen comes in the plants and they break the glucose into carbon dioxide and water and energy, and carbon dioxide come out from the plant. The coming oxygen into the plant and going carbon dioxide from the plant takes place through a special organ, a special structure that is present in the leaf, that is called stomata. Now I am going to explain that there are many ways through which the oxygen can enter into the plant freely and takes the respiration, takes the oxidation. In our body there is a one organ system and all organ system works together. But in plant, the stomata, root hairs or lenticles, they work freely. They work independently. Here, a student, you know that the oxygen comes inside the plant through the newly born or newly made root hairs. Means root hairs perform the respiration when it is very young condition. But when the plant becomes old, in that condition, these root hairs do not perform the respiration. Then the special organ that is perform the respiration. The special organ, a special structure takes place, exchange of gases, that is called lenticles. A student, in this way you understand how the respiration takes place inside the animal or inside the human beings, and how the respiration takes place in the plant. I think you understand. You understand. Now, thank you.